What's going on, guys? Hey, it's Anthony here at the Breakout Daily. Today, guys, we're talking 2022. We made it. We've got some cool stuff we're going to be talking about in regards to some of the goods and bads of 2021, our collecting plans, and some of the specs we're looking at for 2022. So stay tuned. All right, guys, so thank you so much for tuning into the Breakout Daily. As always, if this is your first time checking us out, please hit the subscribe button. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. And let's just dive right into what we're talking about today. Guys, 2022 is here, and we've got some changes as far as the collection goes for comic books. I do have, as mentioned before, quite a collection of baseball cards, basketball, football. Shit, I got X-Men cards. I got some Magic the Gathering cards. I do have to do something with those here in 2022. I, for whatever reason, have been holding on to them. In fact, I bought some baseball cards the other day just to open packs. I love doing that. But I do need to do something with that so I can, A, free up some space, hopefully get some money to help fund some of the comic book collecting. So that's one of the things that I will be doing in 2022 is trying to figure that out and how I want to approach it. A couple of other things with 2021 is, I got back into this hobby middle of 2020 and was slow rolling, wasn't super sure on what I wanted to do. I had some comic books from 20 years ago, 15 years ago. I ran through these stints of collecting books, and then 2020 hit. I wanted something to kind of fill the void that was semi-positive, and collecting's always been kind of running in my blood. Same with bartering and everything else. So I elected to get back into the hobby. I've mentioned this several times, but with doing this, I was buying a bunch of different books, and then 2021 hit. The popularity of comic collecting just was peaking. 2020, 2021. And I was riding it out with most of you. Now, with that, I was buying a ton of comic books from my LCS, from another LCS, from Pop Shop Live, from the Whatnot app, and from everywhere that I could get a comic book. I was doing so, and I was speccing on just about everything and anything under the sun, with some specificity behind it. Now, going into 2022, one of the big changes I'm going to make is focus more on my PC. And for my PC, I do have some specific things, one being Series 1 X-Men issue 100 and below. I'm not necessarily trying to fill the full run, but I am trying to build out a lot of the books that I need. I have a bulk of the late teens or mid to late teens, so I've almost got 10 through 20. I almost got 20 through 30, and then I've got some in the 30s, and then I've got just a conglomeration of books between the 30 and the 100 marker. So that's one of the focal points. And then I have a couple of other focal points with some of the Strange Tales stuff, some of the Astonishing, and or Tales to Astonish. So that's kind of where I want to place my focus. Now, with that, I do have newer books that are going to stay in my collection. New Mutants 98. Let's see, the Sandman #1s, stuff like that. But overall, I'm going to be reducing and have started reducing all of these modern books and trying to keep up with the spec on that. It's very difficult for me. It was extremely costly, and I feel like the staying power for said books isn't the same as first appearance of Deadpool, first appearance of Human Torch, first appearance of the Sentinels, first appearance of Juggernaut. Those kinds of things. And while I like, I guess, gambling on those, and I like the content, and in some cases I like the story when I get the opportunity to read the books, it can be very costly, and the ROI on it is not necessarily for me at this time. However, I have a ton of modern spec books that I'm gonna hopefully be going through over the next several months, get some stuff together, hopefully sell a bunch of those, keep some of them, and then get rid of a bunch of filler issues of books that I'm just not going to build out. I'm not trying to shrink my collection in the sense of just not having them. I'm trying to tune my collection to better suit what I'm trying to do. And that's going to be my main focal point for 2021 now, or 2022. Now, let me talk to you real briefly about some of the mess ups or some of the mishaps I've had in 2021. One of them was the Eternals. So, huge Eternals fan. In fact, I did like a TikTok video or something. I have got all of the major keys from the Eternals runs, and one of the ones that A, was the most expensive, and B, that it hurt the most was Eternals #1, the newsstand, 9.6. So I picked this up for quasi deal, but at the time, this book was going for about $1,000, $1,100 right as it was peaking. And I got it for right below $700. Now, these books are going between $400 and $500 all day long. Hopefully, I am hopeful that we'll see an uptick in the up and coming Eternals, however they play into the MCU in the future. Obviously, if you saw the movie, it said Eternals will return. So that was one of the big ones that I kind of ate shit on, to put it nicely. With that, though, I learned, and there's several other books I could sit here and talk to you about that didn't fare out the way that I wanted to as far as value goes, but that was one of the bigger ones that stood out to me. I was hoping, and I enjoyed the movie. Obviously, the audience as a whole did not enjoy it as much as I did, so that was one of them. Another one, I haven't released the video yet, but I will. I was doing a $3 pull at one of the shops that's about an hour away from me, and they had all these long boxes, probably 100 long boxes, maybe more, full of books, $3 each. And I found some cool books. I found some books that were like, $3, okay. But I did find, and this is not the copy, but this is an epic fail on my part. I did find Thor God of Thunder. Was it issue 2? Yeah. The first appearance of Gore the God Butcher. This book I paid $150 for, and it is a 9.8 candidate. The one that I found could have been, a high 9s candidate. Regardless, raw, probably at least $100, right? Picked it up for $3. Get it home. I was just getting into pressing, and I had a good run. I did a test sample on probably half a dozen books, and then I started to get confident in my abilities, right? And so I said, okay, let's step it up some. So I did. I did a couple of big books, did a couple more big books, and the results were there, guys. I was hammering it. Well, unfortunately, and I wasn't paying enough attention because when I was pressing at that time, I was really busy, and I didn't realize this, but part of the fabric in my water holding chamber, part of the fabric had gotten slightly wet, which ran up to the book. And when I inspected the book, I was like, oh shit, it's more damp than I had thought. And I separated it, let it kind of air out a little bit. I thought it was good to go. The pages separated beautifully. I was like, okay, this should fare out. Well, it was a lot more wet than I expected, and the press ultimately, and this was my bad. This 100% was a fuck up on my part. I ruined the book. Unfortunately, that's a lesson learned at the cost of Gore the God Butcher. So that was another lesson I learned, and so many other lessons, especially with organization. Now, I'm veering away from FOMO this year, trying to, again, kind of line it up and focus on what some of my goals are. I mean, here's an example. I think I shared these books in some of the recent videos, but I recently picked these guys up from Heroes Universe. You'll see an unboxing on that coming soon. Beautiful copy of Avengers 14. Tales to Astonish 57. It's another book I recently picked up. X-Men. Now these are in decent condition. They're definitely not near mints, but nonetheless, we have the first appearance of Juggernaut X-Men number 12. Definitely some spine issues. It does have a t-shirt cut out, but it does not affect the book or the story. There's that guy. Follow that up. We have X-Men 13. This is actually kind of funny to me. Good old Bud signed this book. So somebody signed it right here and then signed the back. This book's in actually better condition. Still got definitely some spine issues, cover issues and whatnot, but and then I'm still waiting on issue 14, which is the first appearance of Sentinels, which looked beautiful. It's been stuck in the mail for 4 weeks. And then X-Men 15. This is actually a pretty nice copy. Definitely needs to be pressed and cleaned. All of these to see what I can pull out as far as grades, but they're not anything crazy. But they play very nicely into my X-Men Series 1 books. Cause like I said, I've got actually X-Men 16 somewhere over here, signed by Stan Lee, CGC 6.0. I've got, I think 17. I've got 20, 21. I have 5 CGC signed Stan Lee books, all below 30, issue 31, between 31 and 16, which is awesome to me. I mean, that's part of what I am currently collecting. And then I've gone through this stack as well with some of the Echo stuff. I think Echo is going to be a huge character already. And then going into the future, I think she's just going to continue to blow up. So 2022, I think that's going to be smart. Doctor Strange stuff with the Multiverse of Madness. We're going to see an uptick in Doctor Strange. We're going to see an uptick in Wanda. We're going to see a uptick in a lot of things. Thor's coming. So we are getting Gore the God Butcher. So obviously this is going to pop up. If they kill Gore, it's going to pop up and probably to, kind of slide down. Hopefully they don't kill him. Gambit is another one that I'm looking out for because the Gambit animated series. I have, this is a beautiful direct edition. I do have a not as beautiful newsstand edition of the first quote unquote appearance of Gambit. Yes, I do have the X-Men Annual 14. I've actually got, I think, 2 or 3 copies of that book. But I think Gambit's a pretty safe bet going into 2022. Thor, it's coming out late July, so maybe not. Moon Knight with Oscar Isaac, I think that's going to be probably one of the biggest shows of the year. She-Hulk's going to do well, I believe. But the staying power is the hard part with all of this stuff. Where are they going to go next? I mean, the Young Avengers stuff with Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, Yelena Belova. Are we going to see those characters this year? I've got Strange Tales, 159, I think. The first Contessa, Valentina Di Fontaine Allegra. I fucked her name up. But I think she's another great prospect for 2022. But there's a lot, and it depends, for me now, as opposed to what I was doing in 2021, there is a lot of things that will change in 2022, and speculation being a huge part of that, because with like Thor God of Thunder, Jane Foster, is she coming in? We believe she's coming in. There's a lot of money behind the books and a lot of value behind some of those books. But if it goes a different direction, that value will depreciate. And then where do those books lie? We also have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever coming. So it's going to be a heavy year, not only for Marvel, but also DC. We've got Peacemaker dropping here relatively quick. We have... And where does that go? Is it just a one-shot Disney Plus thing, and then we don't get Peacemaker anymore? Or is there going to be more, I guess, is where will that lead us from a collectability standpoint? In addition to that, we got the Batman coming, the Matt Reeves. That looks obviously very cool with the Riddler. And then the Penguin, he's going to get his own show soon. So that's a huge possibility for spiking books. And then later in the year from DC, we'll also get Aquaman. Again, where does that go? Wakanda, back to that real quick. That has been driving Namor books all over the place. And if Namor doesn't appear, what's going to happen to those books? Now, we're not doing the what could, would, and should. Sandman's another one. We're getting the Netflix Sandman adaptation this year. I think that's going to pop and it's going to have staying power. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. I am invested. I'll tell you exactly what I'm invested in right now. I have several key books for Moon Knight. I've got several key books for Sandman. I've got a couple of key books for, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. She-Hulk, I'm not really invested in. Miss Marvel, a little bit. I've got a couple of books, nothing crazy. And then I think that covers the big stuff. Obviously, if we get special characters like Dane Whitman And the Black Knight, I am vested in the Black Knight with the first Dane Whitman appearance. And then his first, which would be Avengers, 47, 48. I've got both of those books in relatively decent condition. So it just depends on what comes in 2022. But what I would say to you is this. While I'm sitting here kind of riffing on some of the stuff I did in 2021, good and bad, and talking to you about 2022, one of the big things I will be focusing on is going through my collection and kind of maturing it in the sense of where do I want to take this in 2022? What keys, what do I want to hold on to in my PC beyond 2022, regardless of the shows and movies that are coming out? What do I want to sell so I can reinvest back into the collection in 2022? And those are really the questions that I'm asking myself. And I would consider, if I were in your position, to start asking yourself those questions as well, because with all of these shows coming out, we're going to see a ton of speculation, a ton of spikes and drops in all of these different books, in all of these different areas for various reasons. And you want to be smart about this. You want to invest some time thinking before you do it. And I can tell you, again, firsthand, I had a lot of FOMO in 2021, mostly because I was enjoying the hobbies. I was enjoying all the auctions. I was enjoying seeing the books, jumping on Key Collect, jumping on Cover Press, jumping on GPA, eBay, all of these things very quickly and saying, oh, right now it's selling for $100. I'm getting it for $60. Good deal. Bam. But in some cases, you can come out upside down. And that's okay because it's going to happen at some point or the other. However, my big transition is to, again, liquidate some of the stuff, to include the baseball cards, basketball cards, some of that stuff, liquidate and get rid of some of the comic books that hold monetary value, but no real intrinsic value to me as a collector. And so I can do some cleanup, do some bartering, some trading, and get my collection where I want it to be for the latter part of 2022 and then going into 2023, guys. That's what I got for you today. I appreciate everybody that's watching the Breakout Daily. This is one of many shows that we do. This is the Wednesday show where we're talking spec, we're talking about what I'm doing, and many other things. We have been dropping on Saturdays unboxings and haul videos. We've got a ton of those prepped and ready for you, so you're gonna want to stay tuned for that. Which all that's required from you is to hit subscribe down below. Give us a thumbs up. We always appreciate that. If you got a comment, drop a comment down below. What are you hunting for in 2022? Do you have a list? Do you have an idea of any specs that you're hunting for? Drop a comment down below. I'll be sure and get back at you there. And then, of course, check us out on IG, TikTok, and everywhere else. Guys, thank you for tuning into the Breakout Daily. And we hope you had an incredible holiday. And it's 2022, guys. Let's talk in the next video.